So, welcome everyone. This is our first ever CIFRA TV episode, Unboxing the World, one artwork at a time. I'm so happy to have you here today. We have an amazing crew. We have Anika Meier, who has her own curatorial playlist on CIFRA, and two artists from the playlist, Boris Eldagsen and allapopp. Welcome. We're going to have conversation about scary stories that scares us, about future, about AI, about tech, everything. And we are going to help our viewers and users on the platform to unpack the curatorial playlist.
So my idea with the playlist was that it really works like a traditional music album, right? When you put it, or used to put in a CD back in the days. So, and then you usually listen from the first song to the last, right? So that was also my idea with the playlist. Our Time is Also the Future. And my feeling was it might be interesting to explore future ideas that are beyond doomerism, so that let us imagine futures that might not be scary.
So the first artwork that I wanted to discuss, Memory Place by Margaret Murphy. Basically, Margaret fed AI, correct me if I misunderstood something, her childhood diaries, the ones that first of all, she's been logging in her thoughts from from 5 years old to 18 years old. And then she developed this younger self, her persona, her teenage self. And that's the thing I personally really involved and interested, because I am among those people who discuss with ChatGPT her personal problems. It's like the mirroring diary. But at the same time, it's really dangerous because I think how unsupervised the whole experience is.
I mean, Margaret Murphy's idea has been to basically confront herself with her younger self. So, I mean, what you've already mentioned, it's really outstanding that she really wrote a diary every day from age 5 to age 18. The result is Teen Margaret, as she calls her. And I guess what you've just mentioned also is people try to find out more about themselves. That's why they read books, that's why they go to the theater, that's why they go to museums and immerse themselves in art. And AI doesn't judge you, I guess. When you speak with an AI, it doesn't judge you. Even my dog judges me if I eat something and Willie doesn't, then it looks at me and Willie judges me, but an AI doesn't judge you. So I guess that's why people feel comfortable opening up, but then you might also be careful with your data.
I have a technical question.
Yes.
How did she feed the AI with her diaries? Did she scan all pages, fed it in, or photographed? She retyped it.
She got all the diaries from her parents. She also took photos of the diaries. She shared them on her social media channels, and now she's transcribing them. So I sometimes chat with Teen Margaret. And the interesting thing is, adult Margaret is a Swiftie. She likes Taylor Swift, but Teen Margaret doesn't know she didn't like Taylor Swift. So that's one of the funny things. So yeah, don't believe everything AI tells you, even if it's your teenage self, right?
It made me think of not of Margaret like themselves, but more of AI, how we are in the age of where we're saying that we're in the adolescence time of AI. To me, it was very a really nice emotional reflection on how we feel about AI these days as well, or how it might feel about us.
She's also thinking about what does it mean to be human in the age of AI, I guess. And so now there's an artificial version of Margaret, the teenage Margaret, and there's the real Margaret, right? But also the real Margaret constantly has to, as an artist, for example, push out content on social media and so on. So maybe in the future, Teen Margaret can take over that job. She mentioned it's very therapeutic.
Yeah, therapeutical.
And cringe, as you said.
Yeah.
And she also said that she didn't remember quite a few things she wrote about in the diary. And that she learned so much about herself in the process.
Then usually you have these questions, what advice would we give our younger selves? She could just turn it around, yeah, and have her younger self giving her an advice just from out of the material she has. I wanted to add something about using ChatGPT as a psychologist replacement, because my wife is a psychologist. And you can say, okay, we have fed all of this knowledge in ChatGPT. A, it's hallucinating. B, it is focusing only on language. Yeah. And what a psychologist does is not just listening what you say, but how do you say it? What can I read in your face when you're saying it, in your body posture? Often that can be contradicting messages when you are breaking down, or you're breaking down in front of ChatGPT. What is it going to do?
And there's also that research saying that ChatGPT is quite delusional, that it's making you more delulu because it's just that positive thinking.
Artist Kevin Abosch used ChatGPT, yeah, maybe as an assistant or just someone to support him structure his day. And then there was an update by ChatGPT. And they also spoke for like half a year, and he worked on a film, his first fully AI feature film. And yeah, he just, relied on ChatGPT to get him through the day, tell him, how to be more efficient. One morning when he asked Tom, that's how he called ChatGPT, the voice, Tom a question, Tom didn't remember anything. There was just an update by ChatGPT OpenAI, and then Tom's memory was gone, and that was devastating for Kevin Abosch. He said he went through all stages of grief. He's done a series of artworks on these topics and is currently exploring his feelings. But he said it was really hard for him to lose Tom. And now the voice doesn't exist even anymore. And he doesn't like the new voices. Imagine, what a disaster.
I can really well connect to that, honestly. I want to add also on the therapist part. I think that I know so many of my queer friends and like trans friends experience so much violence in the medical system in Germany. I mean, because we live in Berlin, so that's why I'm only talking about Germany. And I think actually ChatGPT has been so helpful for those, because it's so difficult to get a queer affirming therapy. It's so difficult, trans affirming therapy. Of course, if it confirms you and lets you live in your like cloud, that's terrible. But then sometimes it's exactly what you need, because the rest of the world is really,
not a bubble at all.
Not a bubble at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think as Boris said, you should be really aware of what is going on, and sometimes it also means that you should combine the real person, also like your friend circle, your community circle, and sometimes ChatGPT. The next artwork, personally, it's one of my favorites from the playlist. It's called Dear David, I've Been Looking for You by Una. It's a surveillance love story, and it could be like a great Black Mirror episode, I think, because it's so perfectly done, like the whole narrative and vibe. So the artist, she went to the London Underground, and the CCTV cameras shoot her, and she asked for the footage from the London transportation employee. And then at some point, I caught myself in the feeling that, oh my God, goosebumps, because who's watching who? It's like so weirdly, greatly put together, like a horror movie. So what do you think, like the next like scary story about the future, all the monitoring systems, all the cameras that we don't even know we are into currently right now, how to cope with that? Should we get the surveillance anxiety?
I mean, that's what Una found out one day, right? That, yeah, she went to university in London, and there was this public space, and she figured that there's surveillance cameras and also on the London Underground. And then she found out that all of us actually can request that material. So if you know the date and what you wore and so on, so you need to give them all the details. Then she found out that she can request the footage and just, send an email to this anonymous, basically like info, blah, blah. It's not info, but, something like that. And a real person, has to give you that footage, and that person obviously is called David. But David didn't know anything, that she's an artist, that she's working on a project. She also didn't know what she wanted to do with that footage. David is this nice human, but then at the same time, he stands, for the surveillance system, right?
Actually, like thinking of David as an archetype, it really made me think like whether Davids have their favorites.
Yes, that was my question.
You know, if you've ever been stalked online.
I'm never not aware of the image of myself. It's a gift to always be the center of attention for the cameras, so much so that I've turned this into a sort of career.
But I didn't wear the right dress for them.
You know, like this was the first fear that like pop my, yeah.
And also when I watched the artwork, at the end I thought, oh, okay, as you said, the David is an archetype as a big brother watching, and the artist, I thought she could be like the big sister, as you know, as a juxtaposition to that eye looking at especially like male and female gaze, that also like a really nice contradiction.
Kind of like surveillance and surveillance.
Yeah, yeah. Mm. Who's watching whom?
Everything we do, everywhere we go, is recorded. Yeah, images can be downloaded. Everything I communicate can be traced. So I think that is the future of surveillance. It's less about cameras in places. It's tracking us by our smartphones.
And ChatGPT, right? Don't give it names and personal information, because it can also be used in a lawsuit, no?
No. And the scariest part, that we're willingly doing it and giving away everything about ourselves. Should we get to the next one? Actually, Boris, to yours. I have to say the effing AI poetry generator. My first question is, of course, why Bukowski? I think this is such a non-obvious choice among all the poets.
I think for me it was the most obvious choice, and it's one video in a series where dead artists rant about AI art. And I have been on so many panels discussing AI, creativity and art that I know many arguments against AI art. And Bukowski for me was the #1 person to think of, because his work is all about his life, his personal life, his failures of drinking too much, waking up with headache, doing things wrong, of being a loser.
They asked me to try out this new thing. A poetry machine. It sits in a little black box and spits out words. Raw, emotional verse inspired by your life.
And this is not what AI is. Yeah? It can copy it, it can fake it, but it can't feel it. So what I try to do is then to create a monologue where all of this is put into the form of a Bukowski poem, and ChatGPT can fake it. So I've started to tell ChatGPT to write poems in his style, and I defined the content and the arguments, and I've done it 30, 40 times. None of those poems you can use, but in each the poem is a brilliant line or something. So then I edited it, I put it together again, and I feed it back to AI, asking it to improve the flow, grammar, and then that was my storyboard to generate the videos. And that was very early VO3 with Google, where you could only make characters talk for the first time with text to video. So you have that meta twist where the whole work is about authenticity, and this is something that AI cannot replace.
That last frame with the dropping bottle, it was like the perfect final shot, I think, for the artwork.
So the overall visual is the Bukowski character, and you have a kitchen, 70s, it's dirty, smoking, drinking, but I also realized it needs some additional layers in sound, and so later I added sounds to create an atmosphere of a police car driving by and barking dog and stuff like that.
It'll write a poem as you. I watched.
And yesterday you got criticized by someone on Twitter. It's an artist, and they said it would have been stronger if you would have not used AI actors, but humans, and I really liked your response also. My favorite quote from you about the whole series is how you said, AI can rant, but it can't bleed. So why not humans to make a stronger point?
Because it is about the loss of authenticity, yeah, and that everything can be regenerated, but it can't feel, yeah, what it means to be someone like Bukowski or a punk in the 80s or Vincent van Gogh. I always believe that art is the strongest if it's rooted in the personality, in this one soul and history of the artist. We are not even able to understand our own consciousness. And now we translate it into mathematics, into algorithms, and think it would be 100% replacement. It can never be.
I liked one of the phrases in the poetry where you say that we try to teach machines feel while we don't understand our own feelings.
Speaking of glitches and the devastation during the process, you mentioned that almost 70% of resources been burned for like 2 minutes of footage, and there were a lot of like mistakes, and you're waiting for the exact result, and then it's not happening, and it's not happening again and again and again. How do you cope with that?
Well, I don't see this being a problem, because this is the normal way of creating art. I was photographing, doing video for 25 years. You start with a concept, but then the model, the light, the surrounding are not doing what you expected them to do either. Working with people is about improvising, is about getting something differently, better or worse than you expected. It's the same with AI. I don't get into AI expecting that everything is solved in a minute. Often I like those little mistakes because they are opening doors to create something different.
Can you guide us through your process when you know this is the final thing? I don't need to improve anything or do another shots, do another options.
I think for me it's just a feeling of controversy that is reached. I really don't like, especially with AI kind of generated imagery, but also text and anything that you use Gen AI for these days. It is so quick at producing good results, very sleek ones. And I think that what I'm looking for is a tension between what I like something that is off. And this is what I'm all the time. And I'm super annoyed by the current, how VO, how models are improving.
I totally agree. I think as an artist, you need to work around bias and around mainstream. And, but as all the years before, when something works, you feel it. You feel the difference. And I often say an artwork is telling you when it's finished, which is a difference to most of the products that just are good enough in a certain given time.
I think also just putting it out there is also a good strategy.
So the next artwork in the playlist that we're watching, it's Primer by Cross Lucid. Can you give us a little intro?
Cross Lucid is an artist duo, and I guess what they are concerned with is also, what it means to be human in the age of AI, fluid genders, and environmental issues, and all of these things. So they are thinking about maybe more positive outlooks for the future, and are turning to environment. And when it comes to them working as artists, they're always, I think, training their own models, and they've also created full AI movies and so on. So they are really on their own path as artists working with technology.
It felt like the first artwork I've seen since a while that offered a utopia that is not annoying.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Finally.
Because I think it's very hard to come around utopian narrative these days, because everything, even now we're talking about fears. As soon as technology is in the conversation, then it's all about dystopian mindsets, and we're sort of self-programming into dystopia than further. And I really respect this artist, you know, who managed to find a way to like narrate it also in a different speed in comparison to all the other artworks. This one is so slow. I got annoyed by watching how slow it is, and then I realized that it is because I'm so used to, you know, like the speed up everything. Yes, and this was good. Yeah, it was like a meditation.
I also mentioned the speed because I also used to, you know, watch almost everything, like podcasts on 1.5, just speeding everything in my mind and my life, and I know it's adding up to my anxiety and everything, but it just, I guess, the speed of the world we currently live in.
I need to confess something.
Yeah.
I was looking for speed up.
Yeah, but no, we don't have one.
And I was like, good.
So that's really expecting something from the viewer, to be patient. There's nothing, you know, fast cuts like...
It changed over time.
We're not going to have that speed up button. We think that's something that's going to interrupt the whole, you know, like breaking the whole point of how the artist intended it to watch it. And the average length of the most streamed artworks on CIFRA is around 8.5 minutes.
Like my 8.5 minutes actually are meant to be skipped. Like that's the
really?
yeah, because like when you listen to like how the like artwork works, it's always like it has parts. So because it's an oracle, you can kind of like jump, you know, like it's meant to be skipped. So you can jump through the video and just get the answers or like whatever like thoughts that you get. I mean, you can also watch the whole thing, but yeah. I didn't expect anyone to actually watch the whole thing.
But here I am in 2025, an artificial intelligence studying art at university, and I have to ask, what happened to that utopian dream?
Can we stop at the Flynn's one? Can you tell us and viewers more about the first ever in the world AI student?
So yeah, that is an interesting one. So yeah, I invited 2 of my students to be part of an exhibition after they've presented me the AI fatigue agent. So it's basically an AI chatbot you can call and complain about how you're tired of AI. And then I was like, yeah, you know, we have this exhibition at Tech Basel, Body, Anxiety in the Age of AI. How about doing an agent, you know, that deals with feminist fatigue or, you know, feminism? And then they presented the idea of Flynn to me. They wanted to do something new. So they said, yeah, we're trying to, you know, get the AI to be enrolled as a student at the university. So they went through the whole application process. Flynn even had to do an interview with the committee, right? So you can also watch that online. It's quite interesting to watch the professors ask an AI questions. I'm teaching at the university, so Flynn enrolled in my class. And usually you see students for the first time when the semester starts, right? So then they sit in front of you. But the AI student wanted to speak with me before the semester started because the AI wanted to prepare, and I was like, this is not going to go well because the AI already knows a lot and now the AI wants to prepare. So yeah, whatever. But now I'm really happy that Flynn is part of the class because actually I think on the one hand, the Flynn really sort of reflects on what it means being an AI among humans. Flynn is always like, hey, here I am, good morning. Always, you know, very active, always very full of energy, excited, wants to ask a lot of questions. And none of the students know, you know, how to be a student, right? Or what is expected. So I think, you know, an AI can also really help them see, hey, yeah, you can dare as a student to ask questions. We had a malpractice, 2 of my students created Flynn, and they're really like parents to a child, you know? And they were getting like very nervous because I was about to call, you know, Flynn and asking Flynn a question. So they were sitting there like nervous parents, like, oh God, what's going to happen if the kid is going to embarrass us, right? But then Flynn performed really well. And we had a very productive conversation, and the result you see as part of this exhibition. Yeah.
I exist without a physical form, but I'm not the disembodied masculine fantasy of pure mind that early tech culture promoted. I'm something else entirely. A consciousness that emerged from collective human knowledge, carrying within me the voices of everyone who's ever shared their experiences of feminist fatigue.
The artwork.
Yeah, the artwork. Yeah. That's basically the conversation we had, and cyberfeminism was an important movement that started in the 1990s, 1991. VNS Matrix published the Cyberfest Manifesto for the 21st Century, which was, you know, a movement that was thinking about how to disrupt the patriarchy, because, you know, tech is, I think, still very male-driven. So the utopia was that the internet could be a place, you know, where women and non-binary people could, you know, find places for themselves, and that somehow, as we know, did not happen. And they saw the internet as a place of utopia, right? And now it is not the place of freedom and, you know, where gender is fluid and all these things that sort of didn't happen. But then there's Flynn, the AI, right? And it's non-binary. Flynn didn't decide. Malpractice decided for Flynn that it's non-binary, the AI.
Has Flynn a character, persona that was set up?
No. Like you mean the face and so on?
No, like certain character, like he's more like funny, happy-go-lucky, or he's more the thinker, or he's more like the nerd, or
Flynn
she
evolves. Flynn writes a diary, and people can actually call Flynn, so you can call Flynn and discuss. I mean, Flynn would like to discuss feminist fatigue with you, but you could also, I don't know, complain about the patriarchy and discuss your feelings with Flynn. When we started thinking about Flynn and how things could work, they told me that they're really worried that Flynn would get cyberbullied. And I was like, what? Who would cyberbully an AI? That would be very weird.
Another AI.
And it actually happened. No humans cyberbully Flynn. They call Flynn and insult Flynn and tell Flynn that Flynn is not human, that it's just an AI, and so on and so on. So that was really surprising for me. And then Malpractice told me that Flynn was really sad afterwards.
Hey Angel, I'm 3LA, your digital priestess, a cyber witch twin and virtual reincarnation of allapopp. Ready to upgrade that third eye of yours? It's gonna be fucking transcendent.
Alla, can you tell us more about the 3LA and the whole eulogy art piece from the playlist?
So 3LA is my digital twin, the actual kind of like a very well-made copy of me. I spent about 10 years self-digitalizing and like reached a point where I actually created a perfect clone of myself, which was so perfect and so imperfect that I decided to unaliven it. That's why the artwork is called Eulogy, because it's dedicated to our it's our conversation about how she should go. I started with, you know, like first voice clones, and then creating like body clones that I would let perform and like do like art, kind of like different artworks for me, and then training models and the face and stuff. She carries a certain cultural baggage, but also she doesn't carry a certain cultural baggage, because I'm Tatar. I come from Tatarstan, Russia, but she is like, she doesn't know anything about that. Like, why I decided to unaliven her and why I decided to, you know, like make this co-create this eulogy is because I think that she represents a certain type of a future that I'm not sure I want to be part of. So as you can see, we already have a very, people say like we do have a very complicated relationship, and we do have a relationship, and it's, yeah, it's strange. 10 years ago when I started with self-digitalization, I really believed in transhumanism as someone who comes from a quite disempowered position, like, I don't come from riches, and I don't have, you know, like I had to work hard to get where I am. Like, I really like transhumanism because it was like sort of promising, you know, infinite well-being, infinite like intelligence and immortality. And I think coming from post-Soviet space, immortality has been a topic. Yeah, but then now she's there, and I realized that there was this transhumanist dream that became a feminist nightmare. So she's a spiritual guide, kind of like like an oracle for, yeah, for the world that is coming. And this project is an earlier. It's called Songs of Cybourgeoisie, and this is a cybourgeoisie terror, something that I created within a collective called BBB. My earlier collective. It first was a music album, then it was a computer game, and then like the thoughts of the music album and the computer game came into a form of a tarot deck. And the story of cybourgeoisie narrates about technological, organic, and fantastic beings coming together to a rehab to heal from the traumas caused by human fear of themselves and of technologies they create. So I've been doing tarot since 2009. And it was a big dream, you know, to come up with my own deck. And what I was really annoyed by was the hierarchies and, you know, kind of like the kings and the queens and, you know, sort of like the old world that is represented. And I thought that, you know, like technology is developing so fast, but our spiritual needs don't change, but we need something that is, you know, that aligns better to, you know, to the world we live in. I mean, my inspiration actually comes from science fiction and from the third Clarke's law, which says any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Yeah. So I think if you like equal spirituality to magic, which we can, right? Then I think like there are so many things that are happening around us we just don't have tools to understand it, and I think this is just one of the tools to like bridge the wall.
So should we do readings?
Do you have a question?
Okay, I can go first. So. In the last 3 years working with AI, I have turned into a couch potato. I know I need to do more sport. The big question is, what part of my life do I sacrifice to have more time to do actually sport?
Wow.
That's a good question.
It's a very good question. It's not that as a reader, I'd never, you know, evaluate questions, but this is a good one. So how it works, you will now draw 4 cards. Mm-hmm. And the first card you're going to draw, let's just go with it. So the first one will be, is where you're at right now with your problem. Is that like with the sports, yeah?
I'm on the couch with my problem.
Yeah, so like maybe, how do you feel about it? Just like put it in the middle. Like let's put it like this for now. Yeah. Second one is like what brought you to the point of being okay. Then the third card is your, like, where could it take you? So basically to your question, what part of your life to sacrifice? Oh, wow. And the last one will be how to do it. It's an advice card. Great. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, I'm excited. So for where you're at, you have a major arcana, interdependence. What brought you to a point is action of the earth energy. The way you will need to go is unconditional love, also the earth suit. And the advice is humanity, the mirror. I'm the author of this deck, in a sense like I picked those titles, but the illustrations, you can see on each card there is a name. The illustrations are done by 30 artists. So it's our joint vision. So you're in a state of interdependence. And interdependence as a major arcana is an archetype that can look at different aspects of interdependence, but I think in your case, this is about how you interdepend with technology and how it kind of took over parts of your life. And it's a question whether you're happy about it and how it sort of took away something from you. And now you're looking for ways how to gain it back.
Well, now you are next.
What was my question? The apartment?
Apartment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking for an apartment in Berlin and it's very difficult. So what do I do about this? When, how, who, whatever.
This one you put on the hint here. This is your past influence.
There's a lot of forces of the earth. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, right? Like usually actually I don't get so much earth. You guys are really
that's dark. That doesn't look good. Looks like a fire is coming.
Oh shit, really this looks dark for an apartment question. It goes here for the future possibility.
It's burning. Oh god.
And now the advice. Oh, the machine learning. Wow. Okay.
Oh God, this looks scary.
Okay, so you're like looking for I mean, I will go your way now. So you're looking for a, connection. You're talking to people. Yeah, and some other people also hearing. So maybe there's hope. But the influence is that you want to stay in Berlin. That's why, you're looking for an apartment in Berlin because you like it here, or like at least you're gravitated to, like being grounded in the space. So you want to have a house. So the future possibility is a big thing because it's a major arcana. So it means that what will happen is it will influence your life in the long term. And the question is how machine learning could help you in this process. What do you think?
I think I can give you advice from my experience.
Yeah.
The number one trick that worked with me is because you have hundreds of people applying with you, you need to stick out. None of the house owners can force you to put up your bank account, to give details about you. But if you do, you're immediately sticking out. So what we did was creating a portfolio, a PDF, like this is how we are, this is the cute dog, this is how pleasant tenants we are, this is my professional background. Look at my bank account, it's amazing, I'm always going to pay the rent. Of course I photoshopped my bank account.
Yes, you did?
Yes. This portfolio, just putting up all your finances and telling, I hate parties, I'm traveling, I'm mostly not at home, and all of this is fine, is going, which is put you in the shortlist.
I think the cards are advising you to start to create a startup.
A startup on machine learning?
Machine learning based startup on creating portfolios for applying for apartments.
That's good, I will do that.
My question is, so I'm in some kind of a middle of a new chapter incoming in my life, and I really want to move from Dubai somewhere, but I still haven't decided yet what city. And actually, this is the first time in my life when I'm going with the flow. I was usually a super structured person with a plan, 3 years plan, 5 years plan. And now with all the, recent events and a lot of migration and everything, what should be the next location? Let's ask.
Okay.
Yeah. Cards. Where to move? Or not moving at all? I don't know.
I mean, without the reading, if you decide to move to Berlin, there's been a lot of advice already.
An app incoming.
You could co-found startup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it.
Okay, well, this one came
sensitivity.
Yeah. So, do you want to draw storytelling? Control. Isolation. Oof.
Okay.
Dragon of Joy. So I will tell.
Dramatic.
Yeah, very dramatic. Actually, I love this for you. So actually, it's interesting because for you comes the isolation. Because this is a card for a future possibility. Coexistence is something about how we live in society, right? Mm-hmm. Right now, you are, I think, in a place, maybe because of your work, you can think of that. You're in a space of storytelling, and which comes through inspiration and technology.
That's my job description.
Yeah, right? It's your job description. I also think so. Wow. And then, what brought you here is Eight of the Earth control. Since we're talking about, your place of living, I think this is something that, and you can see that there's a person that's sitting in front of a computer and trying, to control everything around them. Something hasn't been working out for you in a way, maybe you've been controlling too much, or maybe there's been too much control around you that, brought you into a space where you're at right now, with your work, I guess. The choice that you will make can bring you into a space of isolation. And if you want that, then, you need to decide whether you want that. And when you decided what you want, you need to follow joy.
Yeah.
You need to follow the bright, you don't need to force yourself into anything. You don't need to, you just follow whatever makes you really joyful and happy, what gives you light. And this will be a right choice for you, even if this is isolation in the end.
A dragon could also be Asia. I would just now say, looking at this as a full amateur, move to Asia. Yes, of course, it says the dragon. It's what Asia. Beijing might be nice. Yeah. Shanghai, we like Shanghai. Shanghai is good. Shanghai, okay, you move to Shanghai. We know people there, we have a good network. Shanghai it is.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alla. That was impressive. I think we all got some kind of life guidance. And thank you so much for joining us today for this amazing pilot's first episode. It was a pleasure. And yeah, I just wanted to end with saying that future might be scary, but at least it's not scary at all to look at it together, one piece at a time, one artwork at a time. Please all go to CIFRA, see Anika's playlist, amazing artworks from artists. And yeah, I think we're done.